So you're probably wondering how we should have gotten that curved system in the first place. See, actually we're born with what we call a fetal curve, one curve, and it's kind of like a fish, but that's okay. We were in water, and we were born into this circumstance, and as we came out of mom, that system doesn't work very well with respect to gravity. And so mom puts us on the floor, and we look up. And as we look up from the floor, we create the curve and the muscles that support that curve and the neurology that drives it. That's an incredibly important concept. Then we start to push up and crawl, and we pull down and create the curve in the lower back. And as we do that, we create the curve and the muscles that support it and drive it, and the neurology that drives it too. What's interesting is there are actually two kinds of crawling, according to Grasovetsky, Sergei Grasovetsky in Spinal Engine 1. He discusses that there's an army man type crawl, he calls it the lizard crawl, where it's all lateral flexion, where we're using our lateral flexor system and learning to drive it neurologically. Then we start to put the curves in and start using that coupling mechanism that we've already discussed, where we're learning to convert lateral flexion energy into rotation. And we're using the pivots also, right? We got the C5, T7, L, and the L3 pivoting system, but also there's a pivot at C1 and L5. And so those pivot systems begin to operate and function within the coupling mechanism system and using the lever arms the way they're meant to be functioned. And you notice as the child crawls with the curve system that they're crawling straight forward instead of laterally like they began crawling with the army man crawl. Well, that's because they're actually using coupling, and that means that they're literally walking face down, so that when they're ready to stand up, they not only have created the weight-bearing circumstance that allows them to stand up, and the ability to function with respect to balance in the vestibular system, but also they already have the couple system in play and the neurology that drives it. So now we're just trying to make it work vestibular-wise so that we can stand up and balance. And the vestibular nuclei, as it says in many texts, are very, very plastic. They're able to learn very well. As long as you're alive, they can keep learning. Okay? So what's cool about this whole system is it was already pre-set up for this. It was born out of water, which would think, wow, that would mean that evolution really doesn't work out for this thing, because if it was truly evolution, it's born out of water, presupposing the need for being a land-based bipedal, having the facets already set up for standing straight up and creating this curved mechanism and allowing it to work. Thus, the specificity of the system would not be able to presuppose that, because it always comes out of water. So evolution doesn't work.